Welcome to another episode of The Human Body from Jay's House. Now, we are going to be doing the circulatory system, and we are going to dive in and really do this thing. So please open up the document, Circulatory System Notes, that you made yesterday. And at the top, in the middle, let's label this thing. So we're going to call this the circulatory system. So please label your notes. Circulatory system. Bold, underline, make it really stand out. Let's see, I didn't collect homework because I'm not physically there. I didn't go over homework because I'm not physically there. But I know what you guys are thinking. Jay sure talks a lot, but I really hope you yelled, what's the point? Let's go to the right, write the date. And today is the 7th. So let's go all the way over here and write 4/7/20. All right, we're still doing class. And then we skip along and go all the way to the left and we write the point. Isn't it nice to be back? Yeah, we're gonna try it this way now and see if this works. And the point today is, what is the purpose of the circulatory system? Now, yesterday's video was all about this, so hopefully you watched it and you're yelling the answer right now. But I'm not going to give you the answer right now. Instead, I'm just going to plow on through and act like you weren't paying attention because you're teenagers and you probably weren't. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can pause the video and catch up. So feel free to hit pause at any time and catch up with notes. Now, because most of you are doing this digitally, you don't have to. But if you're taking paper notes, skip a couple lines so that you can write the answer to the point right under the point. And the first note that we are going to take is heart. Heart is a 4-chamber organ that pumps blood two places. It pumps blood to your lungs and to all your cells. So one side of your heart will pump it to your lungs, and the other side of your heart pumps it to your cells. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Again, if I'm going too fast, pause the video. That's the kind of nice thing about video. Next up is artery. Let me make sure that's on screen. Hopefully you can see that. Right up against the edge, aren't I? Artery. That is a blood vessel that carries blood away from the heart. And the way pretty much every biology teacher teaches this is arteries go away. that alliteration. Arteries go away. They take blood away from the heart. And I'm going to pause on notes. You have 2 more, but I'm going to pause and just remind everyone that you should be writing this in your circulatory system notes doc that you made yesterday. So if you don't have that document, pause it. Actually write everything down. Actually type all this in. This is not optional. This is class. And next up we have, and let me scooch over a little bit, make sure that that's, there we go. Vein. Now vein, V-E-I-N. Vein is a blood vessel that carries blood back to the heart. So if one carries it away, it probably needs to come back. And the way everyone teaches it is if arteries go away, veins go back. There's no alliteration. It's the other one. If arteries go away, veins are the other direction, which is back. But where does it turn around? So if arteries go away and veins come back, where's the turnaround? And the answer to that is capillaries. So we have capillary. Oops, typo. Capillary, and that is a tiny blood vessel that connects an artery to a vein. Now again, now would be a very normal time for you to hit pause and type everything in black into your circulatory system notes. So I strongly recommend that you just pause right now, leave this up on your screen, and then you can go back and forth, toggle between the notes and this video. So pause for a second and get that done, because I'm not going to wait. Pause. Welcome back. There we go, because I'm sure you pause because you do everything I say. Not. Okay. So, and you can always rewind, all right? It's a thing you can do. So I'm actually going to erase the point. We will rewrite that at the end. Usually I have a much larger board where I can just leave that up, but I can't today. So we're just going to erase that, and I'll put it back up later. But I am going to keep circulatory system up so remember what we're talking about. Now, we have to talk for a second about the heart. So the heart when I draw the heart, I'm actually going to draw it as the diagram, the Valentine's Day heart shape. But it doesn't look like this. This is not what it looks like. It actually looks like that. And again, it's about the size of your fist, a loosely clenched fist. So there's an adult human hand holding an adult human heart, and you can see the size there. Now, today what we're going to get into is we're going to get into the thick of it. Now, if we look back at our definition, it said it was a 4-chamber organ. Now, the 4 chambers are simply top left, bottom left. So top left is actually right here. It's called the right atrium. Bottom left is right here. It's called the right ventricle, right? And then on the other side, I know you're going to be shocked by this, there's a top right and a bottom right. Now, when I say top right and bottom right, I'm talking about in this diagram. This is actually flipped. So the right part of your heart is listed left here, but I don't know a better way to do this. So blood comes in through the top, and let me do this so I'm not blocking the light. Blood comes in through the top into the top chamber. Then it pushes through this tiny little valve right here into the bottom, and it's the bottom chamber that really squeezes and pumps the blood hard. The top just has to move it from here to here. The top of your heart's actually not very strong. It doesn't have to be very strong, it's just not going far. The bottom of the heart, this stuff down here, that's where the real cardiac muscles are, and they really squeeze, and they add a lot of pressure to your blood. So the bottom left and the bottom right, the bottom parts of your heart are much stronger than the top. So then it leaves, it goes shooting out, and we'll say where it goes in just a minute. And then it comes back through the top again. The top squeezes into the bottom squeezes hard, and off it goes somewhere else. So it goes top, bottom, gone, 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 top, bottom, gone. And we'll talk about where gone is in just a second. Now again, I am going to draw it like this, but it looks like this. There it is. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's see, where are these things going? What does it really look like? Let's get the gruesome photos out of there. So if you're squeamish, you can look at the screen again. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is, well, the heart. And again, I said that I was going to draw it like this. Now we know, again, it doesn't look like that, it looks like this. But I'm going to draw it like that so that everyone remembers that we're talking about the heart. And the heart has this side has low oxygen, which means most of the oxygen has been dropped off. And this side has high oxygen. Oxygen's been picked back up. And it does not go in between. If it does go in between, if you don't have surgery, pretty much immediately you're going to die. So it never crosses inside the heart. It comes in and leaves, it comes in and leaves, comes in, leaves, comes in, leaves, comes in, leaves, comes in, leaves, and off it goes, but it never crosses this boundary. That boundary does not get crossed. There is a very thick wall between the two sides that does not get crossed. And if you remember, it's two chambers, so it has kind of a valve where it comes in, goes here, and then off it goes. And this has a top and a bottom also, so it kind of looks like this. And the blood comes in, goes off, and off it goes. So we're going to talk about the low oxygen side, and then we'll get to the high oxygen side. So the low oxygen side, the blood has gone, it's done its job, it's dropped off water, nutrients, and air, and then it comes back to the heart for more power. Well, if I was low in oxygen, where would I need to go to get more oxygen? That's right. I would have to go to the lungs. The whole reason we breathe is to pick up oxygen. The oxygen that we need is at the lungs, and we need it all the time. If you go basically 3 minutes without oxygen, you die. And if you don't believe me, pause this video and see how long you can hold your breath. I challenge any of you to be able to hold it. Actually hold it for a whole minute. You will find out how long a minute truly is if you hold your breath. So, challenge moment, pause the video, get out a stopwatch on your phone or whatever, and try to hold your breath for 1 minute. If you hold it for 3 minutes, you're dead. So you feel free to go for 3 minutes. Just kidding. Okay, so now that we've done that, what ends up happening is the blood leaves the bottom of the heart where it is low oxygen. The only reason it came to the heart is not to pick up oxygen. The heart doesn't do that. The heart is just a pump. The only reason it comes back to the heart is more power. It's already gone off and it's lost almost all of its power, and the heart is just here to give it more power, to give it the power to go to the lungs. And that's the whole reason. And after it, oh wait, what direction is this? This looks like it's going away. And if it's going away, I'm pretty sure we call that an artery. And it's an artery because it's going away. So it goes through this, this artery. Again, it doesn't actually come out the bottom of the heart. All the tubes are in the top. All the blood comes out through the top. But I'm drawing it this way so it's a little more visually obvious. And then it picks up oxygen. We'll talk about that in just a second. But then it returns back to the heart. Because once it goes to the lungs, it actually loses pretty much all of its power again. And it needs to power up one more time. So it leaves here, it leaves the lungs, and now it has oxygen. And this isn't away from the heart, this is back to the heart. So we would call that a vein. So this vein brings it back to the heart. So it left the heart, picked up a bunch of oxygen, and then went back to the heart to power up. Now, here we have artery, we have vein. What we need to talk about is capillaries. Now, capillaries are much, much, much smaller. They are tiny blood vessels. In fact, they are so tiny that blood often goes through single file. Can you believe that? Red blood cells actually fit through capillaries single file. So this, and we'll talk more about that in a later video, the blood goes through all these tiny little, oh, look at all these tiny little paths. All these tiny little paths are called capillaries. And the capillaries actually surround the lungs. And it's in the capillaries that the blood actually picks up its oxygen. Because blood is going so slowly here in these tiny little channels that it has time to pick up the oxygen that it needs. So it enters the capillaries with low oxygen, but exits the capillaries with high oxygen. And that is because it picked up oxygen. That's the whole purpose. The whole reason that you go to the lungs is to pick up oxygen. So, blood goes through the artery super fast. This is a highway. The heart is pumping hard. This is squirting through super fast. And then it goes into these tiny paths called capillaries. And that's where it slows down enough that it can pick up oxygen from the lungs. And then boom! Power back up and rocket through the veins, which again are fast. So fast, very slow through the capillaries, fast again. Okay, so now we've got blood with a lot of oxygen. Woohoo, who cares? Oh, that's right, we need to deliver it somewhere, like let's say our toes. That's right, we've got to deliver this stuff. The whole reason we're doing this is actually not just to pick up oxygen, but to pick up oxygen so we can deliver it. So again, we're going to exit the bottom of the heart. Now, do we actually exit the bottom of the heart? No. All exits, again, are at the top of the heart. I only draw it as the bottom of the heart, so it's a little more visually obvious. So we go through, here we go. This is a highway. This is blood going quickly. Now, this is leaving the heart. Is that an artery or a vein? If it's going away from the heart. And hopefully everyone is screaming artery at the screen because it is going away. And one thing I noticed right here is, hey, artery tells me direction, but it doesn't tell me if it's low in oxygen or high in oxygen. It just tells me direction. It just says it's leaving the pump, which means this is actually high pressure. It's leaving the squeezing right now. So arteries are actually really high pressure. The walls of the blood vessels are thicker to handle that pressure. Where veins, as it returns, it's lost a lot of its pressure in the capillaries. And a lot of these veins actually have additional muscles that help it squeeze. But arteries don't need additional muscles because, man, the heart can give it. So this artery merely tells you that it's leaving, but doesn't say anything about whether there's oxygen in there or not. So the blood leaves through an artery, and now it's off to, and I just chose toes. I could have put your ear here, I could have put a brain there, I could have put even your heart there, as in the heart muscles. The funny thing is, the heart actually gets its oxygen from the outside. It does not pick it up inside. None of this blood actually oxygenates the heart. It actually leaves the heart and then loops around to the outside to drop off its oxygen. That's kind of odd, but I chose toes. So we're going to drop off our oxygen at these toes, which means when we leave the toes, we are going to be oxygen poor again. So that's not a gap, it just goes underneath. Hopefully you can see that this goes underneath. And if it's not going away but back to the heart, then this is also a vein. And arteries are fast-moving blood. Veins are fast-moving blood. That's too fast to drop off oxygen. That's too fast. We've already dropped off oxygen at this point. So what we need is, again, we need those tiny little pathways, those tiny roads where the blood goes slow enough that it can pass off all of its oxygen. So the blood comes into these tiny little roads. And what do we call these tiny roads? Oh, all tiny roads are called capillaries. That's where the blood slows down so much that the red blood cells actually go through single file, one at a time. And then it connects up here. And one thing I noticed when I look at this diagram is, it looks like a mathematic symbol. It looks like the mathematic symbol for infinity. And that's the perfect symbol for it, because does it ever stop? And the answer is no. It starts when you are still inside your mother's belly, and it ends at the end of your life and never between. So this blood never stops moving. This heart never stops beating. And this is why I draw it this way, because this goes on ad infinitum. It just continues going forever and ever and ever. And what the blood is doing, just to recap, is it swings by the lungs, slows down in the capillaries, picks up oxygen, takes the vein highway back to get more squeezing power, more pressure to shoot out to all of the cells in your body. Again, not just your toes, but it's your fingers, your brain, your eyes, absolutely every cell in your body. So it takes the artery highway, going super fast, and then when it gets to the cells where it's going to drop off its water, nutrients, air, it slows down to tiny capillaries again. Once it's done that, it's actually lost a lot of its water, nutrients, and air, and it comes back to the heart, picks up more power, swings to the lungs. So here we are only really talking about the oxygen aspect of the circulatory system. But it's a great intro to what the circulatory system is. So we have arteries that go away. It doesn't tell you whether it has oxygen or doesn't have oxygen, or has low levels of oxygen. Doesn't tell you, it just says it's away. We hit these capillaries where the blood slows down enough to actually drop off stuff, whether it's picking up oxygen here and dropping off carbon dioxide, or dropping off water, air, and nutrients here and picking up waste. It's only in the capillaries that blood goes slow enough to actually drop stuff off and pick stuff up. And then it goes, boom, back into the high-speed veins, which bring it back again. Veins, like arteries, don't tell you if it has oxygen or if it doesn't. It just tells you the direction. And these would have thinner walls because they're lower pressure, and these would actually have little muscles along the way that kind of help push it. Well, not these veins, but these veins from a lot of parts of your body have little muscles along the way that push it along. So we are now ready. And if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. It's this picture gets you a ton of what the circulatory system is about. This is a really good picture. So if you know how to take a screenshot, I'd do one now. Okay, great screenshot. Now, let's finish up class by answering the point. So, erase my beautiful artwork. Oh, we're supposed to drop it off at the MoMA. I forgot. It's beautiful. And if I remember correctly, the point is, what is the purpose of the circulatory system? Now you have already written that. So does anybody know what the purpose of the circulatory system is? Yes, I know exactly what it is. Oh, great. Then yell it out. Okay, the purpose of the circulatory system is to carry blood, and it's the blood that carries the air, oxygen, and nutrients to all the cells in your body. The only reason we have blood is to carry air, oxygen, and nutrients, and technically pick up waste to all the cells in your body. That's it. That's why we have a circulatory system. So that cells get the 3 things they need in order to survive. There it is. So if you have any questions, email me. Otherwise, see you tomorrow and good luck on the homework.